Hey guys, CryptoDad here again, and hey guys, CryptoDad here again. Thanks for joining me on the Saturday night live stream. Live from Michigan, where you can throw out questions and I'll do my best to get them answered. We'll talk about Bitcoin, we'll talk about the news, we'll talk about altcoins. Going to move some crypto around for you guys and do some demos. And as always, I'll do my very best to get to your questions and see if we can't answer or troubleshoot your problems here live. So welcome back, everybody. Looks like the camera's focus is pretty good. It's been kind of boring in the markets. We've been up and down in the 80,000 range, mid 80,000s, but that's pretty good. There were a lot of people thinking that we might drop even lower when we dipped a little bit below 80,000, but we've kind of been up around 88 and then down around 82. And so it looks like we're kind of in a comfortable range. I've got some stories about the market. There are some analysts that think that we could hit another all-time high this year, or I think that one analyst said that it could be within the next 90 days. So we'll dive into some of those stories. I'm going to talk tonight about upgrading your hardware wallet. This is a subject that is near and dear to my heart. Of course, I've been heavily involved in hardware wallets since 2017, and I've been a technophile since the 80s. And my philosophy has always been go with the best and highest version that you can get or hardware that you can get. I've always been the type to go ahead and upgrade. There's a segment of the tech society, however you want to think of it, of people that avoid upgrades as long as possible because of bugs or whatever their thing is. They don't want to spend money. There's a lot of people out there still running Windows 7, possibly. I had somebody in a comment that was telling me, oh, you know, the government still runs Fortran on, old computers. And I'm like, that's not something I would, that scares the heck out of me. So when it comes to hardware wallets, you really, I believe, should be using the most recent item that you can reasonably afford to have the best experience, the best security, all that stuff. And there are a lot of people hanging on to old hardware wallets saying stuff like, oh, it works just fine and that kind of thing. But we're going to talk, we're going to dive into that a little bit. Ledger is offering an upgrade discount for those people that own Ledger Nano S's. And so I'll talk about that as well. Before we get too far into it, let's greet everyone that's here tonight. I want to thank everybody that's here. Always happy to see you guys here early and during the stream. I hope we have a good night. You guys have some good questions. Kenny, as always, thank you for your news. I used your email to run down some articles that we'll talk about tonight. And Mark Schlossberg is here from Slovakia. Let's see, Hannah 350. Rafael Rodriguez, Simona Moulin, Gregory Whelan. Thank you for being here tonight, Gregory. Good to have you. Dustin in Shadow, as always, good to have you here. E. Poston from Colorado. Paul Wizzle is here. LearnBit, who seems to be speaking Spanish. I get that. That's how are you doing? How's it going? That kind of thing. I grew up in Texas. Emmanuel, good to have you this week. Chris from England. Have I tried Sparrow Wallet with Ledger devices? I have. It's more of an advanced wallet, and I'm pretty sure Sparrow is still Bitcoin only. It might support some other coins. It's got some advanced features, but I don't use it on a day-to-day basis. I'm okay with Ledger Live and other third-party wallets when I need it. Ledger Live does just fine for Bitcoin for me, but there are some people that use it. I think I may have done a video on Sparrow Wallet way back a few years ago. Let's see, Vladimir Jankovsky. Good to have you here from Macedonia. Wow, that's great. I don't know what time it is over there. Jay Chiro from Mexico. Good to have you. Chris G. Wesley Midjam. And Dan is here. Good to have Dan. Doc Capital and Greg Artie. Wow, a lot of people jumping in tonight. It's good to have you guys here. Always a pleasure. So if you've never been in the stream before, there are goodies down in the description. As I mentioned, Ledger is running this upgrade update, and I've got an affiliate link here. If you take this over, it'll take you to this page where you can get 20% on any of these, including the STAX, and that's very rare. They don't usually discount the STAX. I don't think they ever have, but they are for this one. And you don't have to turn your item into them. You just have to connect it, unlock it, and verify it. It's like doing the genuine check. I don't think it does an actual genuine check, but it basically just has you connect your Ledger Nano S and then validate, and then you're qualified for the discount. I think I put the cable away. I don't use the cables for these things anymore, and I have so many cables laying around. So otherwise I would go through this with you, but I did do a couple of videos on how you do this. It's pretty simple. You just hit connect, and then your browser connection window pops up, and you click that, and then bam, it sees it. You don't have to sign anything. So you're not putting anything at risk, even from a malicious smart contract, because you don't have to sign anything. So, and then it gives you a 20% discount on whatever item you decide. So that's pretty cool. And I got a link for that. We'll talk about the markets. I did a video on firmware update on a OneKey Pro. Great people over there at OneKey Pro. That's my latest video. You might want to check it out if you have a OneKey Pro. It's a great device. I like the large, colorful touchscreen. It's pretty cool. One alternative to a Ledger. Let's see. I've got my personalized CryptoDad page, but it doesn't get you that Ledger Nano S discount. They didn't combine that for me. Well, whatever. Oh, that didn't work out, did it? What did I do? Oh, I didn't grab just that. Let's do this again. Yeah, there's the CryptoDad page. And you can get $10 off. Or $10 in Bitcoin whenever you purchase anything using my link. So check that out. And then a bunch of other affiliate links. Trezor Safe 5, Tangem, OneKey Pro, CryptoTag, Stampseed, Cyber Scrilla. Doggone it, I thought I updated his thing, but I wasn't paying. I started to, and then I didn't complete it. I got distracted, I guess. But I do have all the news stories linked down below. All right, so let's jump into the news. This is the main story for this weekend. A UK firm buys $250 million worth of Bitcoin as analysts eye quiet Easter weekend. So we're not expecting any market-moving announcements this weekend. It's Easter weekend, so there are a lot of people will be celebrating Easter, attending church, doing egg hunts with their kids and all that good stuff. So probably be pretty quiet for the markets. Let's see, what firm was that? Wales? What is it? Crypto firms and whales. What is the crypto firm? Oh, there it is. Abraxas Capital acquired 2,949 Bitcoin, worth more than $250 million during the 4 days leading up to April 9th. Pretty cool. The firm bought over $45 million worth of Bitcoin from Binance. That's their latest transaction. The investment came days after Michael Saylor's strategy bought $285 million worth of Bitcoin. Pretty cool, at 82,000 per BTC. Large Bitcoin investors, or whales, continue to accumulate, absorbing over 300% of Bitcoin's yearly issuance, whatever that means. Despite continued accumulation from whales and institutions, volatility concerns were raised by significant movement from medium-term Bitcoin cohort, which holds coins for an average of 3 to 6 months. I've got a story on that as well. So let's go here. We had another analyst. She thinks that it can reach 138,000. Oh, I'm sorry, not her. I haven't gotten her yet. Bitcoin can reach 138K in 3 months. This is that optimistic forecast I was talking about earlier. Bitcoin faces unprecedented US dollar correlation as new BTC price research gives it a $75,000 floor. In one of his latest analysis, Timothy Preston calculated that Bitcoin US dollar could rise as high as 38,000, and he's basing this on the high yield index effective yield, currently at 8%. So these two, this is a correlation between two events. It's happened 38 times since 2010. So when this effective yield gets high, 3 months later, Bitcoin was up 71% of the time. It's just a market correlation, but it does point to a new all-time high, according to this analyst. So that's pretty rosy news. Now we've got Lynn. Lynn expects Bitcoin to rise higher, but her take is that it could have been even higher, or she would have predicted even higher, were it not for the tariff kerfuffle that came about with all of the tariff announcements and the trade negotiations going on. Economist Lynn Alden expects Bitcoin to finish 2025 higher than its current price, although she says it could have been much higher. Before all this tariff kerfuffle, I would have had a higher price target. My guess is that we end up higher at the end of the year than we are now, at least, right? So that's her take on it. And it has been kind of a damper on enthusiasm, not only in the crypto market, but in the broader markets. All of the tariff causes uncertainty. Markets, all of the tariff talk and negotiations cause uncertainty. Markets don't like uncertainty. So that's her take. And as I noted earlier, or that earlier article noted, there has been some activity in 3 to 6 months holders that often precedes major price swings. So we've got 170,000 Bitcoin that have moved from wallets held for 3 to 6 months. These are new, relatively new wallets. Momentum from medium-term holder group has historically preceded sharp market moves. So this could go either way, right? This is just a volatility indicator. So we could have a spike up or a spike down. So that's based on medium-term wallet holders and their activity. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see. Oh, there was something in the news from the BIS, the Bank of International Settlements, that warns that crypto and stablecoins may destabilize finance and widen inequality, urging stronger regulation in response. Oh, so the Bank of International Settlement thinks that crypto is a danger to the system. It's not the ballooning debt and the fiat Ponzi scheme that's a threat to the financial system. It is DeFi, right? I don't know. I don't think how many people out there, percentage-wise, are even aware of crypto, right? I think that's pretty high now. I would say, 80 to 90% of the people have heard of crypto, right? But there's a much smaller percentage of people that actually own crypto. I don't know where we would put that. I'm just spitballing here, but I'd say maybe, 30, 40%. If you've heard differently, let me know, of people that actually own crypto, right? And I would think that would be a U.S. figure. Worldwide, I would say that percentage is much smaller. We're talking about people that own crypto at all. And a large percentage of those people just leave it on exchanges. So we're in an even smaller percentage of people that own crypto and keep it in wallets, right? And then of that percentage, we have an even smaller percentage of the overall population that actually owns crypto, keeps it in wallets, and does DeFi, right? So I don't see that small percentage of the population as being a huge threat to the overall financial system. But the Bank of International Settlements thinks it does, right? The growing adoption of cryptocurrencies. Oh, hi, Kitty. Oh, Kitty, you haven't been here in a long time. Hang on just a second. What are we doing here? There we go. Now, come here. What is it? What is it with this thing? Oh, it's okay, Kitty. Don't get upset. All right, come here. Oh, I was holding him weird. Okay. Oh, this thing. What is this thing? Doggone. There we go. I don't know, that camera just doesn't want to. It's the cable isn't being. Hi, Kitty. Say hello. Say hello to everybody. They haven't seen you in a while. Kitty was at the PetSmart while we were in New York, and they told me that he was a bit spicy for the first few days. He doesn't like being in a confined space. He likes to go outside quite often. So he wasn't too happy. And, okay, so what is it with this cable? You really... Okay, Kitty. Let me see if I can put this cable behind here. Get a little more. How's that? Oh, well, it's gone now. Oh, well. So much for that experiment. Yeah, that cable just went haywire. I touched it. I think I must have jiggled it a little bit. Anywho. That's my overhead camera, and it's usually positioned perfectly to get, that angle, but I moved it before the stream started, and then when I flipped over to it just now, it was turned back the other direction. I'm like, what happened? It's probably when I was moving stuff around to get set up for this thing. So sorry about that. I'll have to edit that out if I want to do news highlights. The International Bank of Settlements thinks that DeFi is going to bring down the system. So we better regulate them as fast as we can. And then, speaking of kerfuffles, the latest Trump troll, which we're all used to now, he just says what comes to mind, basically. And now he's talking about firing Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve. I don't know, can he or can't he, right? So, there's people out there saying he can't. Trump says maybe he can. I think he's just trying to get a rise out of people. But that's a crypto story now, as well as a news story. There were a couple of articles about that. So Anthony Pompliano agrees with critics claiming the Federal Reserve isn't truly independent, but says firing its chair will just make things worse. Trump's contention is that he is playing politics. I guess that means he leans Democrat or whatever. And so Trump thinks that he's not as independent as he should be. The idea of the Federal Reserve is that it's supposed to be independent of politics, and the government, the president appoints the Federal Reserve chairman, but only at certain times, and then he doesn't get to choose anybody he wants. There's a short list. Conspiracy theorists or realists, we might call them, will let you know that the Federal Reserve is not a government agency. It is a private cartel of bankers. Rushed through the Federal Reserve Act was rushed through Congress in 1913, the day before Christmas, when hardly anybody was there. It's a private banking cartel, but I'm sure, it's all of this kerfluffle over, Trump firing the chairman is just that. It's just kerfluffle and trolling. Trump feels like that he should be lowering interest rates. But, the long and short of it is really the president isn't in charge of interest rates. The government should be, but they're not. The Fed is in charge of interest rates, and they're a private banking cartel. He could fire Powell, but that's not going to really change the policies of the Federal Reserve. Pompliano talked about it, and our old friend Elizabeth Warren says that the president has no legal authority to fire Powell, but added that she doesn't trust the president to uphold the legal tradition. Oh, it's just a tradition. Okay. So first it's authority, now it's tradition. So which is it? Is it an authority or a tradition? If it's a tradition, it's not really legal, right? It's just something we've done in the past. She thinks, well, he'll go ahead and fire him anyway. U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren warned that if President Trump eventually moves to fire Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, it could undermine investor confidence in the integrity of U.S. capital markets and trigger a financial crash. Undermine investor confidence, right? So the ballooning debt is not something that people are worried about. It's, Trump playing politics with bankers. Okay. So interesting take. I'm not sure why this is covered in crypto. I guess it has a tangential relationship to the crypto markets. I guess markets in general, right? And Trump is an advocate of crypto. But anywho. Okay, so let me check to see if there's anybody with any burning questions, and then we can talk a little bit about some wallet stuff. I've got some good news here. Let me just check to see who's here and who's asking questions. Usually some new people jump in during. Hello, are there any SUI mobile wallets that support Ledger? Well, now and I can't share my phone screen with you because I haven't installed my, I don't think I've installed it. No, I don't. Well, wait, let's see. No, I have not. So I don't have my X Mirage reinstalled. I was doing some upgrades just before I left on vacation, and I'm going to have to do another one because the motherboard that I bought didn't work. So I don't know if it was me or the motherboard. I was pretty sure it was the motherboard, but I sent it back. So I upgraded my chip to the latest Ryzen 9, the 9950X3D. It's their top of the line gaming chip right now. And I also had a high-end motherboard, an EX70X, 870X, but I couldn't get it to work. So I had to downgrade to my 670, which I have now, which is a high-end motherboard also. But anyway, enough about all that. But when I do all that stuff, when I update chips and whatnot, I like to install Windows Clean. So it's just a roundabout way of saying that I haven't gotten around to reinstalling all of my previous stuff. And one of those is my phone sharing, screen sharing. But Ledger Live now supports SUI. So let me just show you how it would work in Ledger Live. And this would apply on the phone as well. So basically you just connect your device, and this is my Ledger STAX, but it's a mirror of my old Ledger Nano X. It's the same wallet. I updated. Let me show you that I already had the SUI wallet in my browser, and this wallet is based on my Ledger device, right? So right now you can see that I have a balance of SUI of 899 SUI that I have been managing with a third-party wallet, right? But, and this thing seems too high now. Hello? I'm going to tone that gain down a little bit because I could see I was jumping into the red a little bit. So that a lot of times their Ledger Live doesn't support certain cryptos, and so you have to use third-party wallets. And so I'm using the ASI Artificial Super Intelligence Alliance to manage my FET token. Right, so we can see my FET token in my third-party wallet. And this is, I've been doing this for a long time, but the SUI has not been supported in Ledger Live until now. So I'm just going to go ahead and enter my PIN here. And now I've messed all my cameras up, messing around with the cat. I hope it was worth it. All right, let's see what we got here. Is it still working? No. that one see, there I was messing around with the cables. It's okay. We'll figure it out. I can show you on this camera. Yeah. Okay, yeah, let's just zoom in a bit. There you go. There's my daughter. Let's see. I'll go ahead and enter the PIN now. I got distracted. Okay. All right, so I already had the SUI app because you can see it down here in the corner because I was using it with that third-party wallet. But if we go into the account section of Ledger Live and hit Add Account, we can now choose SUI. Whoop. Come on, Rex. There we go. So they have native support for SUI in Ledger Live now. So all I have to do is connect your device and go to the Add Account interface, choose that crypto, and then if you don't have the SUI app on your device, at this point it will install it, right? But I already have it. So it's just going to ask me to open it. There you go. Oh, okay. This stuff always happens when I'm live. Okay. So I don't. Oh, are you kidding me? What's going on here? Okay. I'm going to disconnect. I don't know what's going on with this thing. Do I have the right cable attached? Yes. Let's try this again. You always get to front seat with my troubleshooting here. All right, I'm entering my PIN one more time. All right, the wallet is now open. Let's hope it doesn't flip back to the PIN entry on us. Aha. Okay, it took. I don't know what the deal was, but it kept like flipping to the PIN entry. And there it is. You see, there's that 899 SUI because it's being managed on the same wallet. And I set it up earlier. Usually it would say SUI 1, right? If it was the first time you're doing this. But I had it before, so it just found the same name again. It didn't used to do that. It used to just always think it was brand new. But now it has a little bit of a memory of things that you've had in there before. But that's fine, right? So we hit add account and done, and boom, there it is up there towards the top. My SUI balance has now been added to my portfolio, right? And, you know, I like it better when I can manage it in Ledger Live. Obviously, there are some third-party wallets that are more powerful, and you actually want to be able to use the third-party wallet. But sometimes it's just a necessary thing you have to do to manage certain tokens that aren't supported in Ledger Live. But, you know, it's more convenient to see all your balances in one place, right? So now I can see my SUI balance in Ledger Live. Now I still can't see my FET balance, my FET. I'm still required to use the third-party wallet for that. So, but it's not that big of a deal. It's just that I have to kind of add that balance in my head if I'm trying to think of my total holdings, right? Or I could use a different app for just managing the portfolio or tracking your portfolio and just add those in manually, right? But that's good news, and that speaks to your question. You could do the same thing with the mobile version of Ledger Live using Bluetooth. So so now that Ledger Live supports SUI, you've got a mobile wallet that you can use to manage SUI and take advantage of the security of a hardware wallet. Good stuff. Hey Rex, for Ledger Nano X users, how can users sync their Ledger Live and mobile accounts? It seems Ledger got rid of the account export feature. You can still do it. They just use Ledger Sync now. So for let's see, we go to my Ledger. I'm in the SUI app. Let me get out. It's basically the same way you did it before. If you had in the old days, you had in your accounts, you had export account and they gave you a QR code. Now they do the same thing with Ledger Sync if you don't have a STAX or a Flex. Oh my gosh. Again with this. Yeah, these wallets work just fine when I'm by myself, but as soon as I go live, something's really going weird here. Is it it's me? It all started with that camera, right? I start messing around with cameras, and now my USB devices aren't working right. All right, let's close this all. Let's try again. I'd like to show you the interface. Let's see how. All right, so let's try it again. Let's go into my Ledger. All right, I guess it's just, okay, finally. Okay, so now all I need to do is hit Allow Secure Connection. I'm sure you guys have seen this one before. All right. All right, and then we can pull this up. There. Okay. So what were we talking about? Ledger Sync, right? Usually Ledger Sync shows up over here. Okay, maybe I was in the wrong spot. Let's go over here to settings. Yeah, so I'm sorry, it was here all along, right? You just hit ledger instead of accounts export. It used to be accounts export and you had a QR code. Now it's in general under ledger sync, right? You hit manage, and then you can use this here, sync with another Ledger Live app, and there's that QR code that'll export all of the accounts into your phone-based Ledger. Like if you've got Ledger Live on your phone, you would go to import, or you would actually do the same thing. Let me see if I can show you. Oh, well, that camera's on the fritz now too. Let me try that again. Yeah. All right, let me disconnect it. Oh my Lord. I don't think it's going to cooperate with me. But I'm going to try. I'm going to switch to a different camera. And then maybe back again and see if this hardly ever works when I'm live. Okay. Something's happening. Let's go back to this and see if we can't get that camera back. That would be nice. Oh, there it is. Okay. Right. Oh, but I still don't have that. But that's okay. So this is a poor substitute, but if you go into the settings here and then go to general and then ledger sync, right? And then sync app with other device, then you get the camera, right? And then I can go scan that QR code. Now mine's already synced up, so I don't know what it would do. Not much, right? It's so weird. I was like, oh, I don't have my X Mirage. And I'm like, oh, I'm not going to need the camera tonight, but maybe I do, right? So then, you take your, oh, it got it. All right, and then it shows me the code, right? 627. And so I enter that on my phone. And, then it says they're both synced up, right? Right, you see this on your phone. Both Ledger Live apps are already synced, but if you were doing this for the first time, then it would update. So it's very similar to what you did before with the QR codes. You could also just connect your device with Bluetooth on your phone and just make sure you have all the same accounts synced up. Right, so if you're managing Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana on your desktop, then with your Ledger Nano X, then you just come over to your phone app, set it up, and then add a Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a Solana account, and pair it up with your Ledger device, and your balances should match. But if if you're kind of a stickler and you want everything to match, and you've got a lot of cryptos you're managing, you can use those QR codes to sync everything up. Okay, let's go back here. Oops. All right, so let's see. Hi, is it normal? Is it normal? Is anything normal? I don't know. Vincent asks, is it normal that my Bitcoin balance on Ledger Live appears to fluctuate by a small amount for a few minutes after I send BTC to my Nano S firmware is current? Yes, it is. It happens occasionally. I'm not sure if it's a Ledger Live thing or if it's a blockchain thing, but yeah, you'll sometimes when you do transfers, if it's like a big transfer, like 0.1 Bitcoin or something huge like that, you will see fluctuations up and down. Sometimes, back and forth. If you're worried, you can check it out on the blockchain, right? Last week, we synced up Here, let's go back here. Last week, so I had some on both, and I consolidated last week from Bitcoin Flex to Bitcoin Stacks. And, you know, it's a little quirky right after you do the thing. But if you're worried, then you can just, let's see, where can you see it? I thought there was a way to do it. There's got to be. Well, I guess you could click here and then view and explore. And then that'll show you the last transaction. Or, you know, you can just take the receiving address and go to an Explorer and just paste it in. I guess what I'm trying to say is if you're worried about it, you can look on a blockchain explorer to get the actual, you know, balance transfer amount, right? So you can take a look at it. Unfortunately, with Bitcoin Wallet, this receiving address changes. So if I were to just take this over to a blockchain explorer, Ugh, come on, Rex. It's not going to happen, is it? There, that's the one I'm looking for. It's not a big, there's lots of them, but that last receiving address is just going to show the last transaction, right? It doesn't show that's the one we did last week, right? But if you just did a transfer into that receiving address from Coinbase or wherever, and you're worried that there's this little fluctuation thing going on in Ledger Live, you can always double check on the blockchain to say, oh, okay, yeah, I can see that transfer actually made it to this wallet address and everything's fine. But yeah, there's another thing you could try in Ledger Live, Clear Cache. They always say it, and you know, usually when I tell people, they'll always say, "Oh, I've already done that." But you know, if you don't know about it, you can do that wherever it is. Do they still have that? I think it's in Help. Yeah, there it is. Clear Cache. Clear Cache basically just kind of clears the Ledger Live cache and kind of reorients itself to your accounts. They're all based on blockchain addresses anyway. You know, and you know, always remember that your crypto is not in Ledger Live. I know we think of it like that, and so yeah, you get nervous when you see things, you know, going sketchy on you in Ledger Live, but that's fine. It's not a big deal. Hope that answered your question. Let's see. Thank you for that question too, Vincent. Shouldn't be a law that U.S. government has to follow the Fed. Either they are a private bank that writes IOUs blank checks to itself for the taxpayer to pay the taxpayer back. Yeah, I mean the Federal Reserve is in this unholy alliance with the U.S. Treasury. The U.S. Treasury can create bonds out of thin air and then sell them to the Fed, and then the Fed basically lends money to the Treasury in the form of Federal Reserve notes, you know, which the Treasury has to pay interest on. It's just a whole big, you know, cluster F, if you know what I mean. The dollar value of your coins will always vary in some Ledger Live. Yeah, Vincent, if you were talking about the dollar value, that's not a big deal either. That's just Ledger Live getting what it thinks is the latest price for Bitcoin. And there is no set, price for Bitcoin. There's no set universal price for Bitcoin. It's different on different exchanges at any given time. So I wouldn't worry too much about any dollar fluctuations that you see either. Yeah. So Vincent just replied that it's the balance. Yeah. And yes, you are correct, Vincent. I have seen this happen before. Fred McIntyre, I currently manage my SUI the same way. I know that Phantom recently added support for SUI, but they still haven't added support for Ledger managed SUI yet, which I'm personally looking forward to. Okay. Yeah, and the SUI support in Ledger Live is pretty basic, right? There's no staking. So if you look at my SUI wallet over here, I can stake, earn, swap, do all kinds of stuff, advanced stuff with SUI. But I don't, so I should, but I don't. And so just being able to see the balance in Ledger Live to me is helpful, right? But you can still use your third-party wallet even if you're managing the balance in Ledger Live, right? The Ledger Live is just a handy way of getting like a quick and dirty overview of what you've got, right? But if you want to do any fine manipulation, you would do it within the SUI. So let's see. I wanted to go. Let me just kind of. Whoops, we're back here. Let's go here. Yeah, so I just wanted to quickly introduce this topic. I mentioned earlier that I like to keep all of my computer stuff as up to date as possible. I run the latest version of Windows. As soon as I keep it on auto update so that I'm always downloading the new updates. I always upgrade my computer. I talked about that earlier in the stream, that I've got the latest Ryzen chip and I want the latest high-end motherboard. So I'm a believer in getting everything as up to date as possible to take advantage of all of the latest features and or bug fixes and security updates. People that are still using Windows 10 and don't want to make the jump to Windows 11 are going to be at a disadvantage within the year or within a few months when Microsoft stops supporting Windows 10. They will no longer provide security updates for your Windows 10. This was a big risk for people that were using like Windows 7 and Windows 8 because they claim, oh, it works great for me. Yeah, but there are vulnerabilities that have been discovered that they're no longer making patches for, because Microsoft doesn't support it anymore. So you're putting yourself at risk by using older software on your computer. The same holds for crypto wallets. The Ledger Nano S, the old one, works okay, but it's outdated and it's obsolete, basically, as far as I'm concerned. It does not support clear signing. Clear signing is a new technology that Ledger is rolling out to kind of bypass this whole blind signing issue. Blind signing is basically when you connect your device to a smart contract on, when you're doing DeFi, and the device doesn't support fully the smart contract. It's not able to give you all of the information of what the smart contract is doing as you're approving the transaction. And so you bypass it by enabling a thing called blind signing. Well, Ledger has come out with clear signing, and that there are more and more wallets supporting that. MetaMask, Rabby are now supporting clear signing, which gives you a much better readout on your device as you're signing a transaction. So Ledger Nano S does not support this technology, and it's just another reason why you should update. Now, they still support Ledger Nano S with firmware updates. There is a pretty recent firmware update for Ledger Nano S. But realistically, you should be using this. Oh, no, these are S's too. Yeah. At the very least, you should be using a Ledger Nano S Plus, which is basically the replacement for the Ledger Nano S. They don't sell the S anymore. That should tell you something. it's time to upgrade. Your crypto, if you're managing a lot of crypto, you shouldn't just have it, being managed by an old device that you haven't touched in a couple years. That's not a very solid strategy. Some people say, well, I don't need to manage my crypto. I'm saving it for down the road, or whatever. And that's great strategy, but not on an outdated piece of plastic that can't support the latest technologies and will eventually lose firmware update support, right? The Ledger Nano S Plus is just a small step up. Pretty much the same price as the old Ledger Nano S. It supports clear signing, holds more apps, and it's just a nicer interface, a better screen, and it's a newer device, right? And then, of course, I swear by the Ledger STAX and the Ledger Flex. These are light years ahead of the Ledger Nano S. If you are still using a Ledger Nano S, you should upgrade, and now Ledger is giving you a financial incentive to do that, because if you have one of these, you can qualify for a 20% discount on any of their products. So it just makes, it makes common sense. It's common sense to keep your devices upgraded. There was a big debate like kind of a rant that I did last year about the difference between holding crypto and managing crypto. Holding crypto is great, wonderful. If you're going to hold crypto, it should be in a wallet. So if you got a wallet, you're in good shape. But managing crypto means being able to have momentary access to it. And a lot of people disagree with me on this one. They're like, oh, I don't need, up to the minute, moment by moment access to my crypto. Well, maybe you don't, when you're at work or when you're watching TV or whatever, but when you need access to your crypto, when you want access to your crypto, and then you go and pull out your thing from the drawer and it's like, oh, it has a firmware update, blah, blah, blah. That's, when you need it and you can't access it, then you're like, oh, I guess I do want instantaneous access to my crypto now. So if you have a working device that is up to date and you're familiar with it and you can just break it out, connect it, it's up and running, it's working just fine. It doesn't need an update because you've been keeping it up to date, and you want to transfer some crypto in or out, then you can, right? You're not going to be thwarted by pulling out an old device that you haven't used in a year or so, and then you pull it out and it's got a firmware update. I need to run that, because it won't let me use my Ethereum without it. Or it's out of date. It can't run the firmware update because it's too far out of date and it's basically unusable, but you didn't know that because it's been in the drawer for 3 years, right? So having the latest the interface, the interface for Ledger Nano Flex and Ledger Nano STAX is light years, and I'm using that term again, light years ahead of Ledger Nano S. It's a easy to use, easy to read, touchscreen interface, much more intuitive, a much better way to manage your crypto than this old ganky device with these idiotic tiny little buttons. I mean, come on, man. Is that your modus operandi in your day-to-day life? Are you walking around, using ganky little buttons? No, you got a phone, you got a big screen TV, you've got a touchscreen computer, or an iPad or something, intuitive, modern interfaces, right? This is what we want in crypto, right? Why would you, hang on to this old button technology when you could be doing touchscreen? But anyway, that's my pitch. It doesn't matter, you could get a Ledger Nano, you can get a One Key Pro. You can get a Trezor Safe 5. It's got a touchscreen. But yeah, please just get the latest wallet, especially if you've got thousands and thousands of dollars worth of crypto. And especially if you have a lot of crypto. Let's say you're managing, half a Bitcoin. and you bought it, you've been accumulating it since 2017 or 18 or 19 or whenever you got into Bitcoin. And, it's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, or, say 100,000, and you're still clinging to an old ganky button thing, that old piece of plastic, and the screen wears out. And now you don't have access to your, 100 grand worth of crypto. It just doesn't make sense to me, right? So get a device that is up to date, easy to use, has all the latest security and bug fixes, and is working, right? It has, you've got it in a state that it's working, and it's not just in a drawer collecting dust and ready to just shock you when you need access to your crypto. That's my pitch on that. I don't know that there's anything I need to really demonstrate. I've done countless videos on getting the two things that we need to talk about as far as getting a new device would be, what do I do? Let me see if I can find this. Let me go back to this. So this is their, oh no, that's not it. Their Ledger Nano S 20% off deal has some links to what do I do, right? They've got some reasons here like I talked about, but then they also have step-by-step instructions on how do I migrate to a new device. I can use my old seed phrase on the new device and just do a restore, and bam, you're in business. But if you don't have it, or you'd rather not do it that way, you can just transfer from the old device, right? So set up the new device as brand new, and then just transfer the crypto that you're managing on the old Ledger Nano S onto a new device that works so much better. So they have also a comparison screen down here where they talk about, all of this latest technology that you can do. We were doing some of that tonight. The Ledger Sync is not supported on the Ledger Nano S, right? So it's just an outdated, obsolete device. But it holds for any old crypto wallet that you might be using, whatever brand you're using. If you're still using a Trezor 1, oh my gosh, get yourself a Trezor Safe 3 or a Trezor Safe 5. I'm begging you, right? And there's so many, I guess the people that were early in crypto were kind of like the early PC people, very tech oriented, and oh yeah, my Trezor Safe 1 works just fine. Well, yeah, but come on, I don't know. I'm biased because I always feel like I should be, have the latest and the greatest of everything. That's my computer strategy. That's my phone strategy. That's my iPad strategy. And that's my cryptocurrency wallet strategy. That's me. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, but the Ledger Nano X is only 4 years old. It's not absolute. Yeah, if you're still using a Ledger Nano X, I would still recommend going to the touchscreen interface. But it's not strictly necessary because the Ledger Nano X does have a lot of the latest functionality, right? You can see here it supports a lot of these features, right? I'm just, I think interface is very important, but there's a lot of people in the crypto community that really could care less about the interface, and they're fine with using the two buttons and the tiny little screen. But, our modern society is much more touch screen and, screen-based than, this thing looks like it's the Ledger Nano X feels like it's from the 80s. But like I said, it is kind of a toss-up whether you want to update your Ledger Nano X. If you're proficient and you've been keeping it up to date, then yeah, stick with it if you're okay with that. Although I would still recommend STAX or Flex because they're just much better devices. But as far as functionality goes, you get all that functionality that you get with those other ones with the Ledger Nano X. And it's got Bluetooth, right? Does the GUI Monero wallet take more space on my computer every time I sync to the blockchain? Yes, it does. If you're using the full node, right? So if you're using the full node, which I don't know how you're doing it, there's several ways of using the Monero wallet, and one of them is they say less secure because it queries servers and you don't have the entire Monero blockchain downloaded onto your computer. But if you're using the full node for your Monero wallet, yes, indeed. Every time you sync, that Monero blockchain gets bigger every day, just like the Bitcoin blockchain does every day. So running a full Bitcoin node is very impractical on most people's computers because you need a lot of hard drive space, a lot of bandwidth. And Monero is a smaller blockchain, so it's not unreasonable to run it on, maybe your laptop or whatever, but you do need to make sure you've got a decent amount of disk space. You can actually use a secondary drive as your blockchain data for your blockchain data with Bitcoin Core or Monero. But yes, it does require more space if you're using a full node. Rex, what about my Ledger Nano X? I think I covered that, right? Corbin Tolan said Trezor Safe 3 is nicer than the Safe 5, in your opinion. Okay. Yeah, I think some people are better like the the Trezor Safe 3 better than the Trezor Safe 5 because Trezor Safe 5 is kind of you say overkill, and if that's your opinion, that's fine. The Trezor Safe 3 works just fine functionality wise, but it is not a touchscreen. It is a 2-button interface, but it does have a pretty decent size screen that you can see. But it's much better than the Trezor Safe 1. So, to each his own, right? I highly recommend the Trezor Safe 5 just because it has a modern touchscreen interface. I like it better. But I don't use Trezors on a day-to-day basis. So I'm not as concerned about them as my ledgers, because my ledger is my go-to wallet. Boy, what is that? Oh, all that stuff in the background. Okay. Oh, Tangem Pay is coming. That's interesting. Now, Tangem wallets are a completely different animal. It's more targeted. Oh, September. What? It looks like they already had it. Well, I think this might be old. Yeah. That's an old blog post. I haven't heard lately about Tangem Pay, but I think it should be this year, right? And then it's going to function sort of like a credit card in a way, right? So you can actually buy things in the store with your Tangem card. That will be cool. Yeah. But Tangem is a whole nother discussion. Anyway, looks like I'm okay. I'm caught up with all the questions. If I missed your question, please shoot me an email. TheCryptoDad@gmail.com. Shoot me an email and see if I can help you out with your question. Sometimes they fall through the cracks. Thank you for being here tonight, Dan and JDO, our moderators. I can see that they were jumping in and helping out with some of the questions. Let's go over here. What is this thing doing? Oh, it's okay. Oh, yeah, this thing. Yeah, that's frustrating. Okay, there. Let's do that. Yeah, I've just been having all kinds of grief when I upgrade to a new computer and I get everything clean, and then I get my old software. Some of the old settings kind of hang in there. And one of the things was my streaming software kind of defaulted back to HD instead of 4K, and that just played havoc with all my scenes. But you don't want to hear that stuff. Thank you everyone that came in tonight and hung out. I really appreciate you guys being here every week. Thank you everyone that asked questions. You're always appreciated. Hope I gave you coherent answers to your questions and helped you out. And thank you, Kenny, for the news as always. We will be here again next week. Same time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please join me again for the live stream from Michigan, where you can throw out questions and I'll do my best to get them answered. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it. When you subscribe, there's a little bell that you can click that will allow you to be alerted whenever I post new content. And keep an eye on the channel. I should be posting some standalone videos this week. And it'll be great. It's good to be with you guys, and let's hope the markets do take a turn for the better in the next 90 days. So everyone have a good night, and hope to see you